Hello and welcome to the lecture series on company law. Today myself, Trupti Upadhyay, will take you to another topic of company law. I would like to inform you all that I have started a series of lecture on company law, and I am specifically covering the entire syllabus of University of Calcutta of Company Law Semester 2. So the target audience is the students of University of Calcutta, and apart from that, other university students and the professional students who are giving professional examinations can also view the lecture series for better understanding of the subject. If you are giving the examination of company law, be it a competitive exam or an academic exam, or be it a professional or academic graduation exam, you can view the lecture series which is available on the channel. I have previously uploaded few lectures on appointment of directors, then removal of directors, resignation of directors, duties of directors, vacation of office of directors, and powers of directors. Every lecture is available on the channel. You can go through them before viewing this lecture or after viewing this lecture. Today we'll cover a new topic. Before starting today's lecture, these are the few recommended books. This is not the exclusive list. You can include any more books which you like. Okay, so this is not an exhaustive list. Okay, now these are the few. This is the website of Ministry of Corporate Affairs. From here you can access the e-book. That is the e-book available on the site of On Companies Act 2013. Today's topic for our discussion is position of directors in the company. Directors actually have different roles in the company, and their position also differs from time to time or for a particular task to task. Fine. We'll discuss each of the relationship of a director and the company, which a relationship or position a director holds in a company, in various scenarios and various transaction wise as well. Let's see. First, the directors are the agents of the company. We already know that a company is an artificial person, though it is a legal person in the eyes of law, but it is not a natural person. So a company requires the few natural beings, the natural human beings, to conduct its business. On behalf of the company, the directors are the agents who conducts the business of the company. Fine. They are the elected representatives of the shareholders. We already know that the shareholders, suppose, are 100 people, so all 100 people cannot work together in a board. So obviously these 100 people will nominate or elect the few members among themselves. The few people, around 10 people, those who can meet every day, or those who can form a board of directors, and they can form a group and they can conduct the affairs of the business on behalf of the company, in the interest of the company and other stakeholders, that is the shareholders. And they execute the decisions. Their decisions are basically for the benefit of the shareholders and other stakeholders of the company. In other stakeholders, we'll consider the entire environment, society, the government regulators, the creditors, debtors, everyone who are associated directly or indirectly to the company. Directors are agents, so obviously they have to disclose their personal interest in any transaction of the company. Under section 184 of the company, there are the provisions laid down in the act that in these circumstances, if the directors are holding any or having any direct or indirect interest in any particular transaction of discussion, which will happen in the board meeting or the general meeting, for the approval of the board or the shareholders respectively, should be first disclosed. Then only the director can participate or not participate in the meeting or in that particular discussion. Okay. So if the director violates the provision of section 184, that particular director is also penalized under that section. Fine. So directors are agents and they work for the benefit or for the betterment of the company and the shareholders. We'll discuss one case law. Under this case, that is under the case of Ray Cylinders and Containers versus Hindustan General Industries Limited, it was held the directors are agents of the institution, that is the company, and not the individual agents of the members. Okay, except that relationship arises that individual director is an individual who is an agent of the member, a particular member, unless it's not like that. Directors are the agents of the company, not the members individually. That is was only held. But there are some exceptions. Under the exception situation, there might be that a director is also an agent of a member. It can happen, but a special circumstance, not generally. Also, the director granted the court granted a permission that any third party or a member also can file a suit against the company is allowed. But that doesn't mean that a particular third person or a aggrieved party can do a case against the director as well, because they are just the directors of the company, so you can do the case against them. That's not the permission given. Directors are only the agents of the company. They act on behalf of the company. So the directors cannot personally be held liable for any defaults of the company. You might be some may face any difficulty in this line. In this particular case, based on the facts of the case, this judgment was given that directors are not personally liable for any default of the company. But in other few case studies, when you go through in the books, various books or other online material, you may find that the directors there are some offence specifically defined under this act, that is our Companies Act, where the directors are personally liable. We'll discuss this topic in detail when we will go through another set of lecture, that is a lecture on the liabilities of the directors. We'll go through it. What is the personal liability of the director? What is the general liability of the director? We'll go through it. But this is a topic of discussion or the argument or a debate which we can discuss in another lecture. But here we will concentrate only on the fact of the case and the judgment which was held. Fine. So it was held that a loan taken by a company, then the directors who had not given a personal guarantee to the creditor, then a creditor cannot personally sue that director. Creditor can sue the company but not the director. Fine. Next, the director is an employee of the company. We already know that the whole-time directors of the company are the directors who are also a person who is also an employee of the company. So he is also a director, and he is also, because he is in a whole-time employment of the company, so he is also an employee of the company. Fine. The officers, directors are the officers of the company, and of course they are liable for the penalties laid down under the Companies Act, under the various provisions of the Companies Act, if they are not complying with the provisions. Directors are the KMPs, key managerial personnel. The key managerial personnel, there are the few people in the company who are the most important people. So this KMPs are defined under section 203 of the CA 2013, wherein the managing director and the whole-time directors are included under the definition of Companies Act, under the definition of the KMP under Companies Act. Fine. So they are also a KMP, a new role, a new position. Next, the directors are the trustees. Directors are the trustees of the company. They are all the money, the company's property, the powers. These directors have the power to manage the money, the property, and other properties and other things of the company. So they are doing it. But if they are not conducting their duties properly, then they have to exercise the full control. But they are not doing it, then their duty is to refund any money improperly paid to some third party, or they have exercised their powers dishonestly, not in the interest of the company, and for their personal benefit they have, I would say, siphoned some money. Siphoning of money happens only. So this kind of things happen, then the directors are personally liable to repay the money which was lost. Okay, because this money is of the company, not their own money. Fine. Next, we are moving into the next section. That is, directors are the person who manage the affairs of the company for the benefit of the shareholders. So their office of a director is an office of trust. Fine. So they have to perform the duties fully and entirely. I have already made a separate lecture on the duties of the directors, which are mentioned in the section 166. If you have not gone through that lecture, you can go through the lectures previously recorded, and it's available in the channel. That is, I have already mentioned as this. But this pecuniary nature of the office of the director is the sole reason that the directors are also described as the trustees of the company. Fine. And the case law of Percival versus Wright, it was held that the directors are the trustee of the company and not the individual shareholders. That is, again, you have to take into consideration this case law as well. Thank you all. This is for all. This is just this topic is now over, and next time we will go through another new topic on company law. And I would request you that if this video is beneficial to you, please share this video among your friends, that they are also get the benefit of the lecture and the concept is clarified. Their concept is also clarified. If you have any doubts, then please kindly mention your doubts in the comment section, and I would request everyone to stay tuned to the channel for more exciting videos. Okay, and you can also make a request in the comment section that which video you want that I make for you. Fine. Thank you all.